You seen the news? I'm right-wing now.
Russell Brand is right-wing? Or is he radical left? Or is he the most ambiguous political activist on YouTube? Politically fluid. Why are some so quick to brand Russell right-wing? And are making these kind of lists a good thing? Mine. Flock of seagulls here think so. I'm not that convinced. Mine.
Being right-wing or left-wing, that just used to be a thing. Now it's like a sort of an attempt to smear, slander, and take someone down. I know what this is. I've been in the media a long time. This is an attempt to say you can't trust Russell Brand. Russell Brand's unreliable. Russell Brand's a right-wing figure.
What is Russell Brand's politics?
I know loads of you watching this are right-wing. I imagine some of you are left-wing.
Let's look at 3 factors that skew our worldviews. And we'll keep track along the way to figure out if Russell is left or right. Or did the British just parody Weird Al? First, personal. Russell's dad was a photographer. Don't get more liberal than taking photos for a living. Point left. And his mom, secretary. Point conservative. Now, Russell's schooling. He went to the Italia Conti Academy of Theater Arts. Private school? Point right. For the arts? Point left. Now, let's hear Russell speak on about drugs.
We need to start regarding addiction in all its forms as a health issue as opposed to a judicial and criminal issue. That we need to change the laws in this country and we need to have a more compassionate, altruistic, loving attitude to the people with the disease of addiction and recognise that these people with the proper help, access to the proper treatment can become active and helpful members of society like myself.
Compassion, point left. But let's hear what he said at the start of that.
I don't feel entirely qualified to talk about legislation.
Unqualified, but still doing it? Point right. Second factor, social influence. We'll call socialisms. Russell does some social good, so much so that at one point it was said he was broke from giving away all his money. The branding of Russell as right-wing may have come from who he's kicking around with. Before we hear his thoughts on Joe Rogan, let's hear what he thinks about Elon Musk.
We can't just out of the gate say Elon Musk is the best thing in the world because Elon Musk is a human being and therefore flawed. But he does speak about free speech in a way that is appealing. He is an interesting public figure. And again, most importantly of all, he does like this channel.
Finding favor because of flattery. Is that enough to earn a right-wing label? Now let's hear his thoughts on Joe Rogan.
Media coordinated a response to condemn Joe Rogan and his guest for being irresponsible, but could there be other motivations? Joe Rogan's success may be predicated on the fact that people trust him, and part of that trust might come from the fact that he admits when he is wrong openly. I've been on that show a couple of times, and Joe Rogan, as you know, because I mention it about once a week, is a fan of our channel.
All sides of the aisle find favor and flattery. Now, the third factor, principles. Let's hear some of Russell's beliefs.
The people that say there's no alternatives are the people that benefit from it staying the same. It's hard to get this out on the television because the television's part of it.
Russell's principles on free speech.
I personally believe in free speech, and what I mean by that is I believe in people's rights to express opinions that I disagree with. What all of us have to identify is how we feel about a particular issue, and then our willingness to allow people who feel differently to communicate. I also believe that we should be sensitive around the kind of language we use, that we should be kind to one another, that we shouldn't use deliberately provocative, awkward, unpleasant, unkind language. That's the space I live in. I don't know what particular movement that allies me with.
Free speech believer, point right. With compassion and respect, point left. Russell's principles on regulations.
Life is sacred. Life is beautiful. We have to protect one another. We have to protect the most vulnerable people. I'd like to see more regulations in favour of us all looking after one another and taking care of one another and supporting one another and managing the tension between freedom and responsibility in an open, transparent and clear way.
What? Regulations to care for one another? Zoom out, we're going to have to put it out here. This doesn't fit in that box. Russell's principles on spirituality.
And my spirituality is for me. It's not something I go around inflicting on other people and telling them how they should behave. I know enough now to know people are different. People have different experiences. And I don't let those things get in the way of how I evaluate other people.
What? Spiritual, but not inflicting it on others? Zoom out again. We're going to have to put this one way up there, way outside the box. Let's see what else Russell believes. straight from the horse's mouth.
Well, let me tell you some things I believe in. I believe that big tech companies should be really strongly regulated and broken down. I believe that massive companies should pay their taxes in the countries that they make money from. I believe that public health workers, firefighters, police officers, people that do jobs that put their own lives on the line should be properly paid, properly supported, properly trained. I believe that the most vulnerable people in society, the mentally ill, drug addicts, the vulnerable, should be looked after and taken care of. I believe that small businesses should be given every opportunity to thrive. I believe that communities should be run by the people that live in them, and however you identify, sexually, racially, religiously, that's your business, your right. You should be whoever you want to be. That all of us should allow one another to be who we are and get on with it. And that we should have a media that tries its best to give us plain facts and allows us to sort it out among ourselves through plain, honest, open discourse, not elevates and amplifies particular narratives to turn us against one another so that they continue to profit from their relationships with big pharma and big business while we're squabbling among one another.
Pop, 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 pop. What does Russell want? What are his goals?
We want to be part of an open conversation with you. We want to provide alternative narratives, and not only provide the narratives, invite you to create the narratives with us. Because do you know one thing I know? I don't know what's best. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've been wrong many times.
Fallibility? Create your own narrative? What other principles can we learn from Russell?
The mainstream media is not your friend. The culture is not your friend. The government is not your friend. Big business is not your friend. They are operating collegiately in unison to create a set of systems that are beneficial to them and disadvantage you. The biggest threat to their power comes from unionization and mobilization of large groups of people.
Now that we've actually heard from Mr. Brand, do you think he should be listed as right-wing?
What that headline should be is, mainstream media annoyed by success of person who will not toe the line.
Now here's a clip of Russell Brand on Joe Rogan's podcast. Would you label this right-wing?
Yes. If like it's just like, I'm only going to deal with people that see the world roughly how I do, how are we going to form new tribes, new alliances, new relationships, new systems at a time when evidently, it feels to me at least, Joe, like things are breaking down? That if you are really interested in changing the world, you have to participate in systems that are outside of it, set up new ideas. Don't worry about trying to smash this one down with a hammer. It will atrophy on its own.
It can be the easy way out to label someone left or right. Russell seems to be a humanist, conversationalist, what I call power to the people party. Not sure we're truly able to label Russell Brand. He doesn't fit in a box. That's what he's speaking to. The complexity of humans and our desire for connection. Don't believe me? Take it from him.
And if it were true that a person that was once left-wing has become more sympathetic to conservative narratives, well, if that were true of me, and actually I don't actually think it is, because I think I'm way to the left of any government party anywhere in the world, actually, because I believe in spirituality and solutions that are entirely different and new models that are not contained within those institutions. We have to look at a variety and decide for ourselves what we think and feel, because we've all had unique experiences and we can't afford lazy labels like being right-wing or left-wing.